Now, the other reason that maybe is a little controversial, but the other reason that I really want to have a fully stocked pantry is... Welcome back to my channel, friends. I am Jess from the blog SiloandSage.com, and here we talk about all things home. And one of the things I love to talk about is building a prepared pantry. Now, as a mom of 5, it's really important to me that I always have enough food in my prepared pantry to be prepared for whatever, like any kind of emergency, natural disaster. We don't really have a ton of natural disasters in Wisconsin, but like an extreme snowstorm, a power outage, a long extended illness where all of my kids are sick for a long time and I'm unable to leave the house, because that has happened before. A job loss, like anything. I am just that kind of personality that I like to be prepared. And I like to buy in bulk, which I talk about a lot on this channel, because it saves me money having a large family. And when I can be prepared and like shop ahead, it helps me to actually spend less money, because I know that I can come down here whenever I need food for a meal, or if there's like a random person stop by, I always know that I have food on my shelves that I can feed extra guests, I can make meals, and I can just be ready for whatever scenario might come about. But it's really good if you keep a stocked pantry to keep an inventory and to just kind of check it every now and then. Even if you're not like, maybe you don't like keep your inventory like in your pantry and actually like check it off as you use each item, because I'm not the only one who comes down here. So that doesn't really work very well for me, but it works well for me to every so often, kind of like maybe 4 times a year, like every quarter of the year, to come down and just kind of reassess and reevaluate and see like what holes do I have in my pantry and what do I need to restock, and what like older items do I need to be using really soon, like what things are we out of that I normally have in stock, or like that my kids have been eating and I haven't noticed that they've been eating. So those are the kind of things that I am looking at today when I'm inventorying my pantry. Now, when my kids were small and I had a pantry, I knew what was in it, like all the time, because I was the only one who ever looked in my pantry. So it was really easy for me to just kind of know, this is what I have, this is what I don't, because I'm the primary cook in our house and I always have been. My husband doesn't cook a lot, except like just, you know, lunches for himself when he's working, because he works from home. But I am the primary cook of like meals and preparing any kind of food. I'm the primary shopper in our family. Like I do all the grocery shopping, and I do all the bulk shopping, I do the gardening and the canning and all the things. Like that is my territory. So when my kids were small, it was really simple to keep track of things, partly because they just didn't eat as much food as now that I have teenage boys and growing boys, because I have all boys, if you don't know. My oldest is almost 16 and my youngest is almost 7. So there's a wide range, but mostly teen and tween boys in my house. And so they eat a lot of food, like a lot of food. And so they will come down and they will grab things. They will grab things to make themselves meals. They do a lot of cooking in our house. They make a lot of their own meals, like during the day, like their breakfasts and their lunches. They make a lot of that themselves. So I don't always have an exact number in my head, like an inventory. I don't always know what they've been eating recently that maybe I need to like replenish the stock. So that's what I'm down here to do. Now, I'm also looking at a couple of specific things for this season. So as we head into the fall season, for us, this is a busier season with sports and activities and, you know, youth group and things like that. So I know that I need a few more like ready-made meals, like hearty soups and chili and things that my kids know how to do and they can easily grab, or on a night when like maybe we're going from one activity to another, which doesn't happen a lot, but we do frequently spend, you know, hours at like a cross-country meet or something. And so we might all grab like a quick meal when we get home or a quick meal before we leave the house. And usually we're all eating together, but we aren't always eating the same thing. So like if we come home from a sports event, we might all sit down at the table together, but we don't always eat the same thing. Like some of us might eat leftovers. One of the kids might grab like a can of soup and reheat it. The other reason I like to have ready-made meals is for illnesses. When anybody is sick, but especially mom, if I am sick, I know that I need to have some more ready-made things available for my kids. Now, my kids, I've taught them a lot of things about cooking. Like, they know how to make things like Dutch babies. There's a recipe for that on my website if you want that. They know how to make like waffles. They know how to make a lot of breakfast foods like waffles, pancakes, French toast, Dutch babies, and eggs. Those are the big things that they know how to make. They can make themselves like anything that's in a can. They can make grilled cheese. But, you know, if there's an illness running through the house, and if I am sick and my older kids are sick, my younger kids need some help and they need some more ready-made foods. So that is one of the main things that I'm checking over in my inventory today is what kind of ready-made foods do I have available for my kids that's easy to make, and for my husband. Like, if I'm sick, he needs some food to make. He's not the primary cook in the house, so we just need a few extra things. Now, the other reason that maybe is a little controversial, but the other reason that I really want to have a fully stocked pantry is in case there is any degree of repeat of anything that happened in 2020. Because if you have paid attention to anything at all, they are talking about things ramping up and possibly having things shut down again. So that to me is kind of a red flag in my mind of like, check the pantry and make sure that we have things, because I don't know if you felt like you were prepared for the things that happened. I mean, none of us were really prepared, let's be real, for all the things that happened in 2020, but I felt very prepared with my pantry. I felt like I had a really good stock. I had a lot of things on my shelves. I didn't have to freak out and run and get toilet paper because I'm always stocked in toilet paper. I didn't have to freak out and, you know, buy a bunch of rice and flour because I always have things on hand. So I want to make sure that I don't have any big holes in my pantry and just check. I want to make sure. I have no idea what's going to happen, if anything is going to happen, but that's just why I like to be prepared, just in case. So on my website, I have a free guide to a prepared pantry that has inventory sheets, and it has some guidance on like what you should be stocking. So if you're new to building a prepared pantry, this guide will help you. This guide will help you get started and will tell you, like, there is an actual list. I had to print out a new pantry inventory sheet, so I printed this out too. So this guide to a prepared pantry, that is hard to say quickly. Guide to a prepared pantry. It feels like a tongue twister. It comes with inventory pages, but it also comes with this prepared pantries basics page. So this page goes through staples of shelf stable items. So things that you are going to be keeping in your prepared pantry for, you know, maybe it's just a month, maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, whatever it is. This doesn't necessarily give you amounts because that amount is really up to you. It's up to your family size. It's up to how long you are preparing for, you know, what kind of emergencies you're preparing for. Your specifics might be a little different than mine because your family might be smaller than mine. You might not have 5 boys, including tweens and teens, who eat you out of house and home every day of your life. But I love them so much. But this list will just help you get started if you have not started this process, or if you just want to see what are some things that Jess recommends keeping in her pantry, or some things that I like to keep in my pantry. Now, only put things in your pantry that you eat. If you don't eat canned vegetables ever, don't put them in your pantry. Get some frozen ones. But if you want to have a few cans of canned vegetables on your shelf, just in case your freezer goes out and you need to have something, of just in case, get a few cans or can some of your own. But whatever it is, like, make sure these are things that your family is going to eat. I am not someone who's stocking a bunch of like MREs on my shelf for like doomsday prepping. I am prepping for real life actual situations, like a job loss, an illness, some kind of natural disaster or emergency, or just some kind of like long-term situation, like maybe 2020 happened, where I might need to just eat more from my pantry, and maybe, you know, the prices go up. Like, these are the realities of our life. And so these are the situations that I am personally preparing for. So the first thing that I do is I just go through this pantry basics list and I just check. I look at what is actually on my shelves and I look to see what I'm missing. So I'm looking through my shelves specifically for the items on my list. I am looking for, you know, what kind of canned goods do I have? What kind of, you know, do I have oils? Do I have chicken stock? Do I have honey? You know, vegetables and fruit. And then I'm going to write things down specifically. Now, I know that I have not done like any canning myself this year. I've got a lot of empty shelves down there. I know that that is something that I need to take care of. Now, I will be perfectly honest, this year has not been an awesome garden year for me. However, I know that I have a bunch of tomatoes upstairs right now in my kitchen that are calling my name, waiting to be canned into tomato sauce. I have absolutely no home canned tomato sauce on my shelves right now. I have some store-bought tomato sauce that we have been using in the last month or so because we just ran out of my tomato sauce from last year. Actually, from the year before. I didn't can any of my tomatoes last year. I put them all in the freezer. So I actually pulled all of them out of the freezer this morning so that I can can them with my fresh tomatoes that I just harvested yesterday. I also have 4 bushels of peaches that I got from Azure Standard that I'm going to can. I have some plums that I'm going to make into preserves. I have a bunch of grapes. I have a bunch of organic grapes that I got on sale, so I'm going to freeze some of those because my kids actually love to eat frozen grapes. I don't know, that's kind of weird to me, but they love it so much, so I buy them, and I buy them when they're on sale, and I throw them in the freezer, and they just eat them kind of like candy, like almost like a treat. It's really funny. But I'm also going to make some jam with those grapes that I got on sale. I actually went this morning to pick up my Azure order and I went to Aldi. So these cans are all, like there was nothing on this shelf before except for the tomato sauce, and there's some preserved eggs in there, and that stuff was there. And these canned goods over here. But the rest of this stuff was all bare. So today I picked up my Azure order and then I also went to Aldi because I knew that I needed to have this shelf stocked just for my peace of mind and just with the things that we normally eat, because if a shelf is totally bare, that means that there's something that is supposed to go there. So I can my own peaches, but I also get peaches from Azure just to have on hand. And sometimes my kids, they like to take cans of peaches like when we go like out for, you know, like meet friends for lunch, they'll take a can of peaches to like eat as part of their lunch. And these are just a little bit easier for them to do that. So I got these in today's order. I got some canned fruit in a previous haul that you can see on my channel. I picked up a bunch of these potatoes. So I really like these canned potatoes. I don't really enjoy canning my own potatoes at this point, partly because I don't grow enough potatoes. And this year my potato crop was not very good. Like it was decimated by some kind of pest. So I got some potatoes, but not as many as I was expecting. So I got this entire flat of potatoes from Aldi. Some of them are whole potatoes and some of them are sliced potatoes. So I just love these. You pop them onto a pan with some butter. So to me, this is an easy thing that I feel good about my family eating. These are great to either, you know, you can put them in soups. You can, you know, do anything. I love potatoes, so I eat a lot of potatoes. So I got some kidney beans. We already do have some, but we tend to eat more things like chili and soup and stuff in the winter. So I got kidney beans, and back there you can't really see, but there's also pinto beans. I think it's like half kidney beans and half pinto beans. This is an entire flat of black beans. I will either buy the organic black beans from Aldi or I buy them from Costco, but I bought this whole flat there today. And we do have some black beans, but my kids actually eat a lot of black beans because it's an easy meal they can make themselves. And I know, like, I have dried black beans, but honestly, this is just way easier. I know I can can my own, I just don't. It's just one of those things that I choose not to do. So this is really easy and really simple, and beans are not super expensive, but they make a really easy meal for teenage boys especially. Well, I have teenage boys, so I know that that's easy for them. But my kids do a lot of black bean quesadillas or like rice bowls. I'll make a bunch of rice, they'll use it for leftovers, and they'll add in black beans for it. Carrots. I do not can my own carrots currently, so I actually got 2 flats of sliced carrots. I really love the taste of canned carrots. I don't know. I don't know if that's really weird or not. Some people think they're really mushy, but I love them. Put some butter on top. You can add it to, you know, a rice bowl. You can add it to soup. You can add it to like ramen noodles, which would make a super fast meal. I also like to squish them up and add them to macaroni, and I've always done that. Since my kids were little, I have added either sweet potatoes or carrots to macaroni, and it's super simple and easy. So those are the canned goods that I stocked up on today. The veggies here and the beans, I got all of those today at Aldi. The other thing that I am checking out on my shelves, I'm looking for things like chicken stock, and I've got some beef stock up here on the top shelf, and I have a couple in some different places. I think I have some like organic sipping bone broth that I have from Costco, I think. I also have this. This is a powdered bone broth. I'll take one out. I have a beef one and a chicken one. So these are, if it will focus on here, this is just like this little thing that you could pour into water. You could pour it into hot water, and it is powdered, and it's powdered bone broth. So this is great if you have people who are sick and you don't want to open an entire thing of bone broth, like you don't have any that you've made. I make bone broth, but I don't really can it. If you've seen any other My Pantry videos, you might know that I've said before, I make my own bone broth. Every time I make chicken, I make bone broth, but then we just use it. So if I have it in my fridge, that's my first go-to, but I don't can it because it loses a lot of its nutritional value. So to me, it's like, I'll just use the fresh stuff. I'll keep it in my refrigerator, and it keeps really well if there is a top layer of fat that kind of like congeals on the top of the jar. You can keep it in your fridge for a really long time. That kind of acts like a seal. So I sometimes have it last for months in my fridge, and it's totally fine. Do that at your own risk. Don't come back at me and say mine went bad, because it does go bad. And if that seal is broken at all, it doesn't last forever. So you'll have to see what works best for you, but I shove it in the back of my fridge and I leave it there, and I leave it kind of like where the canning lid kind of seals. It's not like shelf stable, like it's not safe to put on your pantry shelf, but you can like put it in the back of your fridge and it will last a little bit longer that way. So I make a lot of bone broth, and if somebody is sick, I will and I am healthy, I will make bone broth, but I always keep it on hand for those times when you just don't have any fresh, or I don't have any in the freezer, because I also will freeze it, or I am not feeling well and I just need to like pull it off the shelf. Okay, I don't think I've ever shown this part of my pantry before. This is like the prepared soups and just like prepared meals. There's not a great light over here, I'm sorry about that, but this is the kind of the space in our pantry that my kids will come into. So we've got like protein, like canned proteins, and some more beans and random things, noodles, and we go through these really quickly. This is not like a long-term storage. These are things we are eating through pretty quickly. But this is the section that I really wanted to check today to see what kind of prepared foods I had, and soups and chilies and things so this is like the area that my kids will come down into and grab what they need to make their own meals. So I can already tell, like, this chili that we get at Costco, I know for sure we have some upstairs in our kitchen pantry. I really like this chili because it's gluten-free, and we have a couple people in our house that are gluten-free. It will not focus on this, but it has no preservatives, no artificial colors. It just has better ingredients. Let's see if I can. Okay, so you can see the ingredients, that it actually has like pretty good ingredients, like nothing really alarming to me, but also it does not have wheat. A lot of chili has, like a lot of canned chili or canned soups will have wheat in there, and since we have a couple, like I'm gluten-free and one of my kids is gluten-free, I just like to have chili that doesn't have gluten in it. But this also has beef and beans, so it has a ton of protein, which is really good for my kids who are runners. My kids eat this a lot during track and cross country season because it has so much protein, and they all just really love it. So I can tell this is our last box down here. Whoa. Okay. So I can tell this is our last box down here. I'll pick that up later. It landed on a bin, so we're good. I didn't like bust open anything. But this is our last box. Sorry, I got distracted by that. So this is our last box, so I have to get some more. I do have a few cans upstairs, but I'll need to get some more. A couple other things that we have down here. We've got this sweet potato harvest bowl. I think this was from Costco also. This, I don't even remember where we got this, but it's kind of some prepackaged fried rice that has decent ingredients. Now this is designed to go in the microwave. We don't own a microwave, but we can warm it up in the Instant Pot or on the stove, or you know, something like that. Now I keep a few little things here of, these are like little tiny things of bone broth that I found. I can't even remember where I bought these, but I like to keep these here because they're right here near all the things that the kids like know where it is, what to, you know, get into. So if I was sick and I was like, hey, please go get me some bone broth, this is probably what they would bring me. So I actually keep it here for a very specific reason. I've got some Amy's organic soup. I got these from Azure. I've got this one, and then I think there's another, I don't know, there's a couple different kinds mixed together in this flat. But these are gluten-free. I actually really, really love these, and anytime I'm sick, this is what I go for. And a couple of my kids really like those too. Got a couple, like a lentil vegetable soup. This is really good. This lentil soup is from Aldi, and I like that it is an organic soup, and it's just a really like hearty and easy soup. We've got some noodles, like little packages of noodles that are easy to heat up with just some boiling water. I think this might be salmon or something. Yeah, that's salmon. These, I have one kid in particular who loves these. Now, I think these are designed also to go in the microwave, but we don't have a microwave, so he just heats them up on the stove. These soups from Costco are not gluten-free. So this is one of the few things we have that isn't gluten-free, but chicken noodle soup, great for my kids who can eat gluten, or my husband. And these are from Costco. They just have pretty good ingredients. So we have a few of these. They're not a favorite of my kids, but they do like them. And this soup I get from Costco is an absolute favorite. My kids love, 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 love this soup. I do and can make tomato soup from scratch, but this is just a super simple soup, and it has really pretty decent ingredients. Nothing super alarming to me. So I always keep those on hand. We also really like to eat that with these ramen noodles. These we get from Costco. You can get these other places, but this is the best price I've ever seen, as at Costco. So these are gluten-free. I really like these noodles. Like, I will make my own ramen, like just for a lunch or something. I'll just make a little bit of bone broth and put the ramen noodles in it, and then, you know, throw in some veggies or something. My kids don't really love that as much as I do, but they do like to put these in that soup, and then it kind of tastes like it's very reminiscent of SpaghettiOs. If you ever ate SpaghettiOs as a kid, the combination of this soup and these ramen noodles will remind you of SpaghettiOs. I have a whole video about proteins if you are interested in watching that, about what kind of proteins to stock, like shelf-stable proteins. So we buy a lot of these proteins. Most of these I think are from Costco. Some of them might be from Azure, but like salmon and chicken and this might be pulled pork, and there's beef. So all of these I'm pretty sure are from Costco. Some of the salmon I have is from Azure, but my kids could very easily pull these out to make a meal if they need to. But also they are just good to have on your shelf rather than having everything be in the freezer. So then I was looking and noticed that these are our last 2 boxes of refried beans, and my kids love refried beans. There might be 1 or 2 cans upstairs in our kitchen pantry, but now I know for sure I need to stock up on refried beans. These particular beans came from Costco. I like that they're organic. We try to buy as much organic as we can. I did not look to see if Aldi had them or what kind of refried beans they had because I just didn't think about it, and I should have done this inventory before I went to Aldi, but I didn't. My kids are runners, like I've said, so they drink a lot of protein in with our raw milk, and my husband is a weightlifter, so he eats a lot of protein, drinks a lot of protein. Also, I like to put this in my coffee, and this is my last one, so I definitely need to get another one. We also like this brand of protein from Costco. We are not super brand loyal when it comes to proteins. We get this one, we get Garden of Life, and this one is from Young Living. This one I really like to put in smoothies because I like how it tastes. All right, the other thing that I'm checking is the inventory of our prepackaged snacks. We don't get a ton of snacks. Like, my kids don't really eat a lot of these when we're at home. They eat them generally when we go places, like if we have lunch out, or if they're going to like a cross-country meet or a track meet or something. I will make some things myself, but also it's just really easy for them to throw them in their bag. So I try to get snacks that have better ingredients. We do like these Simple Mill crackers. We get those from Costco. These don't last very long. I do not tend to keep more than like 1 on my shelf at a time because they just eat them very, very quickly. These are decent ingredients of these fig bars. They're not gluten-free, but most of my kids can eat them. They like these Made Good granola bites, protein bars, lots of different kinds of bars for when they have track and cross country meets. We like these nut butters. These are just like, it's literally just a package of nut butter with egg whites and dates, and like a vanilla flavor. We have a couple different flavors. This one's like a maple almond butter. This one is just like a sun butter. We have a nut allergy, a peanut allergy in our house, so we don't do anything that has peanuts in it. But my runners really like these because they're easy and quick, and they can just kind of like gulp them down. Or if we were going to be traveling, we can take these for nut butter sandwiches. These are like an antioxidant rich energy drink from Young Living. We keep the like the little packaged ones like this. We keep these on hand for my kids to take with them to practice or after a cross-country meet, and then we keep the bottles for winter wellness. I will do an entire video on the things we keep on hand for winter wellness because we do a lot of proactive things, and then we have a lot of like natural remedies and whole food things that we do. I do have a blog post about it. You can go to silentsage.com/healthy if you want to see some of the things that we do for that. But that is why we keep these on hand, because these definitely keep us healthy in the winter for sure. These almond butter biscuit things that, I don't know, these are not the best ingredients in my opinion, but they're not terrible, and they don't have peanuts. Raisins. We have a little bit of dried fruit. We eat a lot of beef sticks because of my kids being runners. They eat a lot of, we try to keep a lot of high protein things. So They really like this brand of beef sticks, and we do have some other beef jerky in other spots too, I think. Dried mangoes. These don't last a long time in our house either. Just some random crackers. They really like these That's It bars, these fruit bars, and then you get these at Costco. These other kind of fruit bars. Those are just gluten-free ice cream cones. And then I always keep some oat milk. One person in my family doesn't do dairy currently, so sometimes he will use these for like cereal or something. But mostly I keep them on hand just to have in case our raw milk, we, you know, couldn't get it for some reason, or, you know, just in case there's any kind of a situation where we don't have the milk that we need, then we just pull this out. I don't love to use it because it does have seed oil in it, but it's kind of a backup, so we don't drink it every day at all. So that's a quick look at the stuff that I was really wanting to check, to look at for my pantry inventory, to see what we are low on, to see what we need more of, to kind of just check our stock. There's more of my pantry that I didn't show you, my prepared pantry, you know, other things that we keep on hand, and other, you know, just kind of preparedness items or other foods like, you know, spices, and we have water because we live on a well. We live kind of rurally, so you know, we have pasta and oils and all sorts of things that we have on hand that I didn't go into in this video. So make sure you check out the Guide to a Prepared Pantry. You can download this totally free on my website. You can go to silentsage.com/prepare to find it. But this will really help you if you have not built up your own prepared pantry and you just aren't sure where to start. Obviously, you can look at the things that I keep on hand, but you really need to think about your own family and what your own unique needs are, and just the things that you want to keep on hand, the things that you will actually eat, and the things that your family needs. But now is also just a really great time to check for the seasonal items that you could be buying at the farmer's market, like the things that maybe you didn't grow yourself. If you are a canner, now I am not an expert canner by any means. I clearly do not can, like, I don't have like shelves and shelves of home canned items. I'm just kind of like a moderate level of canning is happening in my house. But I like at this time of year to kind of survey my inventory to also see like, what can I stock up on from local farms? Like, okay, the things that maybe didn't grow well for me, what do I need to get now? Okay, so I know that I do have enough tomatoes. I don't need to go get tomatoes. I know that I'm going to be getting apples soon. Our apple orchard, our local apple orchard just opened, and they're open on the weekends now, and they'll be open longer, like a little later in the season. And we'll be making applesauce because we are totally 100% out of applesauce. But I am checking to see what I can get locally that maybe I can use to supplement, because now is the time, right? Now is when the farmers markets are going, at least in Wisconsin. This is when I can go to local farmers and stock up. I can get any of their like end of the season produce. I can get like peppers that maybe, like, I grew a lot of peppers for fresh eating this year, but I didn't really grow enough to freeze. So I'm going to check around and find some peppers and, you know, just find the things to fill in my own gaps of where I didn't get enough in my garden because it wasn't a great garden year. You know, I'm going to go around and see like, where can I get some bulk produce that maybe I can fill my shelves, and just kind of fill in those gaps between the things that I buy at the store and the things that I buy locally and my own garden produce. Then I will be prepared for the winter, right? I will have a lot of great food on our shelves. I don't have to like go out a lot in the winter. I don't love to do like huge, big shopping trips. I'll still do my Azure order. I'll still do occasional like Aldi or Costco orders, but I don't love to like, you know, be out on the roads every week doing major shopping trips because I live in Wisconsin and I just like to stay home a little more in the winter. So I'm also going to double check things like my bulk grains. I have been trying for a couple months to get the big 25-pound bags of gluten-free flour that I like to get from Azure Standard, and it has not come the last couple months. So that is the best place that I've found. Maybe I can't find it because I've told you guys it's the best place to find it, and maybe you guys are buying it up, but I have not been able to get it. So if I don't get it this next month, I will probably look around and just find some smaller bags, even though I prefer to buy it in bulk and it's cheaper that way. It's definitely like I need to have gluten-free flour because we bake primarily gluten-free in our house. Rice. I know that I'm starting to get a little low on rice, and I've heard rumors that like other countries are limiting their rice exports, and so that just increases the demand for the rice that comes from the United States. So I just want to make sure that we have all the things that we need. I know that I need to get a couple things of rice. I know that I need to look around for some good gluten-free flour. You know, the things that I mentioned before, the soups and the chilies, refried beans. So that's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to finish up my inventory. I encourage you to go download this page and print it out and do your own inventory and just kind of do a check. What do you need for this coming season? Maybe it's for the busy, you know, school day activities that you're doing. Maybe it's for any kind of traveling, or you want to like get a head start on holiday baking supplies. Or maybe you are also hearing things about what might happen come September or October, and you want to just make sure that you don't have a 2020 situation where you are like desperate for toilet paper and you're combing all the stores and you can't find any anywhere. So make sure you go and download the Guide to Prepared Pantry, siloandsage.com/prepare, and you can watch my other videos on building a prepared pantry, including I have a couple of videos specifically on buying bulk and building a prepared pantry on a budget. So I will link those below, and I'll link the playlist at the end, so make sure you go and check it out. So let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to do that video on what we do to prepare for winter wellness, the things that we're stocking up on, the things we have on hand in our pantry, kind of like homemade remedies or natural remedies, whole food items that we use for our health. And then I can, because that's kind of where my brain is going coming fall, is thinking about preparing our home and our bodies and our pantry for the winter. So if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon in another video. And in the meantime, keep cultivating your home, friends. Bye.